Today we are with Dawn Aberg, the trustee of the Robert Ridger Living Trust, who manages the Ridger archives. Together we are preparing an important and exciting surprise for the Italian public. So before revealing this, today we talk to you about Robert Ridger, one of the most acclaimed visual interpreters of sports internationally. I start with two citations from Robert himself. The first, you can't photograph sport if you don't understand it completely and understand and know the men who play it. The same intensity they have to compete must be yours to tell the story. Not to stop it, but to suspend it forever in time. The second, any art must transcend the real fact. The universality of the image, its intimate yet heroic scope, will give it clarity and strength. We can understand how, for Robert Ridger, the world is a wonderful photograph. He knew and understood the athlete, even more so he was dedicated to knowing and understanding those he photographed. His photographs are, for the most of part, the dramatic and penetrating highlights of sports. Joe, tell us about Robert's deep passion and knowledge for athletes who are, let's say, normal men, no? He said that for many of us, most things just happen. Athlete is blissful. His line is clear. No mediation within emotion, time, what one should think and feel. The athlete just experiences it. So tell about Robert's deep passion.
Yeah, that's perfect. That is perfect. You understand. And I was thinking of Robert when he, there's an ambulance. Sorry. Of course that would happen. But Robert, it was like a threefold thing with him with sports. There was the action of the athlete in the process of completing his whatever that brilliant thing was. But then also Robert did many, many portraits of athletes, of when they weren't working or moving, that are just extraordinary. He did some astonishing portraits of athletes. And then he also understood the fan and why people love sports. And he has so many brilliant crowd shots. And, I got to show you. Can I try to show you something here? Just a second. I really need a camera.
Yes, of course.
This, let's see if I can do this for you, is a picture outside of a New York baseball stadium with a guy sitting on a rooftop looking into the stadium. Yeah. So he could, Robert got that picture right above the Coca-Cola sign. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it really, I was thinking about that yesterday when I found it, and how people will go sit on rooftops in order to see a game, right? Yeah. So, something else I have. He also went behind the scenes to where the athletes were being prepared for their game. This is Charlie Connerly, who was, he was an older quarterback for the New York Giants when Robert was really filming them, and they're taping him up because he's an older guy, and it hurt every time he went out on the field. Robert went back in the locker rooms to kind of see what the athletes were going through, above and beyond the flashy pictures, I have so much to show you, but I don't know where to start. You Here are here's a stack of Robert's books. He wrote all these books. Yeah. He was a brilliant man. He was an artist. He was hard.
For Robert Ridger, photography is a miracle, a phenomenon, an intense pleasure. And photographing sport is compelling, engaging, fascinating. The experience and the feeling that is worth all this effort and dedication.
Yes.
So, do you have any anecdotes or stories of how he talked to you about sports photography?
I have several actually. Our first, well, actually, our second date, okay. And I, of course, was much younger than Robert because I'm still alive, but I mean, he was, we went to the European Figure Skating Championships in Göteborg, Sweden. And he was shooting those. They were right before the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid. And I was there with him. And what he would do, he was he would use, because he did film work as well as still photography, right? And he did slow motion photography, and he had these 16 millimeter cameras that were set. There were two of them, and they were set on two different speeds. And I was next to him, and he would, and they were heavy, okay? They were, big. And he would be filming these ice skaters doing the stuff, which was gorgeous and brilliant, of course. And then he would want to change speeds, and he would like throw the one he was using at me, and I was supposed to hand him the other one. He was just completely focused on that moment. And that was ice skating. I can't even imagine him, on the sidelines of these football games, where he would, and I don't know if this is relevant here, but he never used a motor drive. You know what photographers do now, where they just press the shutter and it shoots a million pictures. He never did that for any of. He would anticipate what the athlete was about to do, and he would shoot in front of it so that the athlete would come into his frame. That's just what he did. Besides almost killing me with those, large 16 millimeter slow motion cameras. No, and other times those were my experiences with him personally. But of course, so much of his classic work was before I knew him, and I only have stories from other people.
Looking at Robert Ridger's photographs, one can clearly see that for him, both draftsman and photographer, the beauty of movement in the human figure in the changing light was a wonderful discovery each time. Can you tell us about him as a draftsman? Did he draw the players directly or from photographs?
He did both, but you're right. He started taking photographs in order to help him with his drawings. I am going to walk over here to another side of the gallery here and show you. These are some of his first sports drawings. I have no idea if I can let you how these work. This one was, I think, one of his first football drawings. And this one down here, I particularly love because this is what his photography eventually looked like. And then there is this beautiful drawing.
Fantastic.
This is Don Newcomb, who was one of the first African-American pitchers. He played on the same team as Jackie Robinson. I adore this. And I'm sure Robert must have taken some test photographs to get that, and that it would just help him. He did, of course, do just freehand sketches, but to get that kind of detail in terms of the movement and capturing the movement, I think his photography really helped him do that. I mean, it was because it's the kind of thing you can't draw fast enough to get that, right? You can't. And so here's something else. I mean, because he was trained as an artist, so he understands form and composition and color and contrast and all of that stuff that an artist knows. He's not just out there snapping pictures. He sets up, these photographs. His black and white photography, of course, is the classic stuff, right, that people know. He did beautiful work with color early on with Kodachrome slides in the early 60s. And then later on with other stuff.
Color photography, along with Jerry Graham, he was one of the first to master it. It's right?
Yeah. Yeah. I can show you, again, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it. These are two photographs of Arnold Palmer, who is a golfer. Golf is not an exciting sport to photograph, as just nothing much happens. But just to look at the color and light in these two photographs, if I can kind of show you, just the light and the contrast, it's really beautiful.
Professional American football and baseball were his first loves. Then
yes,
Olympics starting in 1956. Robert has shot every sport from bullfighting to water polo. He moved to directing television, then documentaries, another love that allowed him to build a unique and original point of view. Tell us about him as a film director.
What happened in the 1960s? He started working with Roone Arledge, who started ABC Sports. He met Roone on the NBC Today show, actually, right when Robert was doing drawings from Squaw Valley, the Winter Olympics in 1960. And so they started ABC Sports, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, all of that stuff. And he moved into directing. And television directing is crazy stuff. They're sitting in like a trailer with 5 or 6 screens around, and he's pointing, saying, this one and that one, doing all of that. They wanted him, when they wanted to start the Monday Night Football, they wanted Robert to be a director, but he wanted to go on and direct his own documentaries. And so he did. He made, I think, 4 documentaries with people like John Denver and Stacy Keach and people like that. But it just never caught on. I mean, Robert was a commercial artist. He had a family to support. First son was born in 1951. So not only did he do this brilliant work, but he's making drawings for ads for shoes and hot tea. These are 2 pictures I really love. There was a very, very famous American football game in 1958. It was a championship before there were Super Bowls and things. And the New York Giants had won, and they were his home team. I mean, that he took most pictures of them, right? They were going up against the Baltimore Colts. Well, the New York Giants had won their game before that to get them into the 1958 championship game. Robert went and took pictures of the practice that the Giants had before that game. And these are 2 pictures. First of all, this guy is gorgeous. This is Del Schaffner. He only died last year, actually. Here you go. This is Del. Let's see if I can't tell if I'm getting this for you or not. He's running across field. He's a running back. He's going to catch a ball, and look, and then here's the next picture where he is set up to catch it. I mean, these are just, I adore these pictures. And the thing that's interesting, Robert went on to take the images of that famous 1958 championship game. It's when the Giants lost. Sorry, but they did. And let me see, I'm looking for, and this is one of Robert's most famous pictures. He called it the Golden Arm. This is Johnny Unitas in that game, and he won that basically. And there are some astonishing photos from that. But this was the image actually that accompanied Robert's obituary in the New York Times. Yeah, Johnny Unitas. Look, and this is the one I think you mentioned that people said that Robert's work was like Greek art, like a Greek frieze, right? And this is the one they were referring to because it really does. It really does resemble something on the side of a vase. But
Very
yeah,
beautiful.
this is one of his more famous pictures.
In closing, I would like to emphasize that for Robert Ridger, sports photography is simply a matter of skill and intelligence. It requires a lot of energy and imagination, as well a lot of listening and attention.
Oh yeah.
If you have the patience to calmly browse through his photographs, you will realize that suddenly everything is silent. You will seem to see even the detail of the light in the photo, to hear the noise, the chatter of the crowd that grows ever larger around and behind you. You will seem to be on the field at times, even next to the athlete. And he, like you, at the end of the match, however it went, smiling for every texture and trace of that wonderful photograph that is the world and man. And in closing, I would like it to be you, Dawn, who value his photography, who tell us something more about him to say us goodbye.
Oh, well, I don't know where to start. I mean, I was married to him. I was in love with him. It was a privilege of my life, and in a wonderful way. I think I've told you I was his hospice caregiver at the end of his life and took care of. I was there when he died. But now that I'm the trustee, it's this wonderful thing it's overwhelming, but it's wonderful to be able to pull his work together. I mean, I have sort of two responsibilities. I need to make money for his beneficiaries who are his children, but then we're also preserving his legacy and making sure that in this crazy world today, people understand the power of this classic understanding of sport. Does that make sense? It's because today it's all flash, 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 and fast. But Robert did something else. Robert, he went to the heart of what these people were doing when they competed.
As soon as we are ready, Dawn and I will unveil the big surprise we are working on together. In the meantime, I would like to thank you, Dawn, for your availability. And
thank you. And it is so wonderful to see you.
Thank you very much, Dawn.
And I am working on my Italian, but it is very bad. I'm sorry, but I'm working on it. Okay.
Okay.
Ciao.
Ciao.